Hey everybody, welcome back to Word Balloon. This is John Suntress. It's awards season, and it's 2020, a new year. Very exciting. I love this time of year because I like awards season. I get to participate. I'm a member of SAG, the Screen Actors Guild. So I get to vote for the SAG Awards. That's coming up in a couple weeks. And, get to look at a bunch of screeners and Oscar contenders. So I'm really excited about that. That will figure into some of the conversations you'll be hearing this week on Word Balloon. Also great conversations with comic book creators as well. Don't worry about it. But I thank you for listening. As always, thank you for listening through the commercials and not fast-forwarding. It means a lot. Pays the bills. And questions or comments about the show, reach me via email, john@wordballoon.com. Follow me on Twitter @JohnWordBalloon or on my Facebook page under my name, John Suntress, and the Word Balloon Network page. One more spot, and then we'll start the show. Thanks for listening. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show. John Suntress here, the first of hopefully 10 episodes as I'll be reviewing the Star Trek Picard series right here on Word Balloon every week. They debut happened on Thursday. The episode dropped. People may have had a chance to watch it. I imagine the people that are really excited about it made, time to watch it as soon as it dropped. There are spoilers here. It's me and Franco discussing the episode. Franco and I are long Star Trek fans, as I'm sure you know from my own podcast. And if you also listen to the All Yeah podcast, you hear Franco and I talk. Our love goes back to the original series, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, all the iterations, all the way through even watching Discovery, even though we're not fans of it. Well, it's time to check out Patrick Stewart's new show, Star Trek Picard. That's what we're going to do today. For the hour, we make references to older episodes, not only of Next Generation that are directly involved in this first episode of Picard, but also we talk about some of the other series and some of the ideas that we saw reflected in Picard as well. Can't help it. So a nice conversation about Star Trek Picard, Episode 1, on today's Word Balloon. All brought to you by the League of Word Balloon listeners. Thank you greatly, League, for your support via Patreon. A lot of you wrote back and said, hey, we'd love to hear a Star Trek Picard review show. So here we are, and I thank you for your interest and your support of Word Balloon by sponsoring Word Balloon via Patreon. Patreon.com/Word Balloon. That's the place to go to subscribe to Word Balloon. Word Balloon is free. It will always be free. But if you want to help out the cause and like what I do here, that's how you can support me. Thank you greatly for the support every month, League of Word Balloon listeners. Word Balloon is also brought to you by Aftershock Comics. Great things are happening in 2020 with Aftershock from interesting creators. People like our buddy John Layman has a brand new book coming out next month, The Man Who Effed Up Time. We'll be talking to John in the days ahead about that book. But there's also other fantastic new Aftershock product as well. There's also Zach Thompson's Undone by Blood and Mark Sable's God Killers. And they'll be going with some of your favorites like Tim Seeley's Dark Red or Cullen Bunn's Night Temporal. Things like Stronghold from Phil Hester and Ryan Kelly. Walk Through Hell from Garth Ennis and Gordon Suzuka, and Animosity from Marguerite Bennett and Raphael De La Tour. Go to their website. You'll find amazing full story descriptions, preview pages, and how to get these stories through your local shop at AftershockComics.com. Welcome to the first review of the brand new show Star Trek Picard on CBS All Access. I figure we need a theme song.
Oh, they have a new theme song, don't they?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not about to learn the new theme song.
It's all classical like.
Yes. It's kind of not really memorable in the same way that Star Trek Discovery's music really. I mean, except for the very, very end and the very, very beginning of the Discovery music. They always have that middle kind of just. It sounds like a bunch of strings, like going crazy and stuff.
Saying Star Trek, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So, John Suntress here with Franco.
Hello.
Of the Oh Yeah podcast, and I don't know if I hope Franco joins me every week, but if not, we'll be going through the episodes of Star Trek Pickard.
I will try as time allows, but yes. With other people or without, I will try to be here, yes.
I suppose I should bring up the particulars of the episode.
Bring up the particulars. Are we allowed to?
It was called Remembrance, and it was written by Akiva Goldsmith, of course, one of the main producers of the show. And certainly everybody had their hand in it. Michael Chabon and Alex Kurtzman and the like, and all the other producers that are behind the current creatives of Star Trek. But let's get into it. We're going to be doing spoilers because this is a review of the episode. So if you haven't already seen it, you might want to pause, watch the episode, and then come back and listen to our thoughts. But let's start with letter grades. I would give it a B.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I would go because it's a first episode and it's setting things up and we're comparing it to Discovery.
Well, we're not necessarily. Let's
because I am.
I'm going to
give it. I'm going to give it an A-. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's good.
I liked it a lot. Yeah.
I liked it a lot too. I do think. Just general broad strokes. There's still a little clunky dialogue that I just don't believe real people would say to each other.
Right.
Every now and then. But that's okay. And yeah, I think it did a great job of establishing the initial parameters of where Picard is now, 20, 25 years after Star Trek Nemesis. And I think it did a good job of explaining the backstory of the last 20 to 25 years. So from that standpoint, I think it did a good job of establishing the current status quo and the direction we're going, with leaving some room for mystery, obviously, the general direction of where we're going next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so as well. I loved the opening. It kind of sucked you right in, kind of left you. Wait, if I'm not mistaken, in the last time we saw them, weren't they playing poker?
In All Good Things, the last episode of Next Generation,
right?
It ended with the poker game, and it was the usual group from Next Generation playing. Right. And may I join you? Why haven't I ever done this before?
Right, he had never been in one before. Yeah,
well, that's what he says at the end of the episode. Now, obviously, we had the movies after that because Nemesis and the first JJ movie of 2009 both are part of the backstory. So it's interesting how they are marrying television and pre-JJ canon with the incident of the destruction of Romulus in the 2009 Star Trek movie. And all that's part of the backstory now, which I'm okay with. I mean, obviously, that's okay.
The as we like to call them, Jabrams.
Yes.
With his Kelvin universe, Spock goes from this universe to that universe. So that's how they're linked, correct?
Right. Absolutely.
Because Romulus is destroyed here, and that's what throws him through that
wormhole. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
And back in the past. No, absolutely. And then they change things, and it creates the alternate timeline. So that's fine. And that timeline's there, but this is good because now what did happen in the what they're calling the prime timeline,
prime time,
since the time of Nemesis and also Spock leaving the prime universe and everything. So no, that's cool. I'm totally great with that. I'm okay with the explanation of how Picard led the Armada to kind of help the Romulans and help them get off the planet as it was being destroyed and everything, and being able to repopulate. This synth thing and the destruction of Mars is a little too broadly drawn right now. But they got 13 hours to explain it, or however many. If it's 10 episodes or 13, I think it's 10.
Didn't they say that they already renewed it for a second season?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming that's going to be. I would hope that's going to be a second story, and that this story will complete on its own. But you never know. I mean, and again, I guess we have to use the example of Discovery right now. In this current mode of one story per season that we're dealing with, not only in Star Trek but TV in general and stuff. So I would hope season 2 is a different story. But anyway, yeah. So the synth thing, kind of, what do you think of that? Because I got to be honest, in some ways, I don't know. I guess it's still a controversial thing. It's interesting that it's been 30 years, I guess, if you want to include Next Generation episode timeline stuff. Think back to the second season episode, The Measure of a Man, where Data's existence is being, kind of discussed in an inquiry, a trial.
Right.
And Picard defends him and everything. There he stands. You say, look for new life forms. There he is. That whole thing. It's a great episode. And also, did you notice the nod specifically to that episode with Agnes, Alison Pill's character, name-dropping the name Maddox? Do you remember that guy?
No.
Maddox was the Starfleet officer that kind of instigated the inquiry because he wanted to take Data back to a starbase, disassemble him, study his positronic brain, all the broad strokes.
I'm never very good on names, but I do remember that.
Well, and I haven't had an opportunity yet to, and maybe I should have this afternoon after watching it, go to Memory Alpha. In fact, maybe we'll do that while we're talking right now. The Star Trek, Wikipedia, basically. And look up if Maddox is the same Maddox or is it Maddox's son, because this is a colleague that, Agnes mentions, could have been a mentor to her, but again, in that Starfleet or in the Next Generation to Now timeline, it could have been an older professor mentor figure to her, or it could have been maybe Maddox's son continuing his father's work. I don't know.
Yeah, because isn't Picard supposed to be at the age of around 90?
That's what I read. 92 even.
Okay, yeah.
So
pretty spry for a 92-year-old running around in explosions and phaser fire
and running upstairs and stuff like that.
Right. Well, he did stop and have to catch his breath. So
Bruce Maddox is the original character, and I want to see if they have updated anything regarding Pickard. They have not. It doesn't look like Memory Alpha has had a chance yet to update, but it was Bruce Maddox. Let's see. He was a commander in Starfleet, and he wanted to, like I said, take Data apart. And obviously, again, Agnes references that Maddox was working further and trying to create more synths as Data and stuff, and as conscious as Data, and as obviously with Data's unique positronic brain.
Yeah, I remember that storyline. I don't remember the names, like I said, but I do remember it.
Well, and then they even, in the episode of Picard, and we saw it in the trailer that they open the drawer and you see what looks like a disassembled possible Data, and it is confirmed now that it was B4. Mm-hmm. And that they,
see what they did there?
Yeah, absolutely, which is good. and that the attempt by Data to upload his own memory engrams into B4 were not successful, and that he wasn't as sophisticated of a machine. And they really do close the book on it, saying he's a different machine. He really is different from Data, and that's fine. That's good. That's a great explanation. That saves us of an easy fix at the end of the show. And maybe it will still happen where they assemble B4 with, upgrades, and then he can be Data again. Who knows? What did you think of the Data dream scenes? Which, frankly, again, not that I really feel I don't mean to sound like I'm, smug, like, I saw that right away. I'm sure we all did. But every time they would show clips of Data in these trailers, it's like, all right, it's got to be a dream, or it's got to be, him and lost in his thoughts, or maybe even senile or something. You never know how they were going to play it. So I like the fact that it's Data in dreams. I thought that was nice.
Yeah, I loved the whole kind of mystery unfolding as, the girl in the painting looks like the girl that came to him type thing, and it was painted, 30 or 40 years prior. So it's like, did he do that, or did it come from someone else, or did Maddox, now that I remember his name and you told me, was he the one that designed these two twins and stuff like that?
Well, that's what Agnes says.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Agnes, or rather Picard makes that supposition.
Right.
That, and I think that's likely what maybe happened. Also, another mention of Maddox beyond the Measure of a Man episode, there was also the episode called Data's Day, where he's writing Maddox a letter. And it's very much like, if you know your MASH reruns, it's very much like Dear Dad when Hawkeye would write to his father and just kind of explain what's happening and stuff. And it was when Keiko was marrying O'Brien. and Data was the father of the bride, giving Keiko away.
Right.
So he stayed in contact with Maddox, so I could see the plausibility of him sharing ideas and trusting Maddox more than he did initially in Measure of a Man, and willing to, because he says it at the end of Measure of a Man. Hey, listen, I'll check in with you and report progress, and as I'm learning, you'll learn.
Right.
Basically, which is, again, I like that. It fits in canon. It doesn't rewrite that much. Yeah, I like it. So yeah, I'm and at first I wondered, again based on the trailers, if Daj was Lal, Data's daughter, that he created himself.
Right.
And obviously
they brought that up. Picard said, he always wanted a daughter, so that was like kind of a nod to that episode as well.
Right, but I thought specifically, possibly this could be that Lal, the physical,
more advanced copy, yeah.
But I guess obviously not, and that's good. I'm kind of glad. It makes sense. It sounds right that Data maybe invented a prototype, and then other scientists were trying to recapture what Data tried to do.
Can we talk about the elephant in the Picard room?
Please.
Why is Starfleet such a jerk? Why are they being such
xenophobic or whatever?
Yeah.
That's kind of still being telegraphed, and I look forward to seeing him interact with, as we've seen in the trailers, the Admiral conversations that are likely coming up. We got a glimpse of it in that kind of news magazine interview that he did.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we don't know yet, and that's. I don't know, man. It's interesting because, and I'll likely reference my buddy Rob Burnett, who does his Rob Observations on YouTube and is one of my favorite Star Trek experts. I am a novice to his chess master. I mean, he could whoop my ass in 3-dimensional chess if we're playing under Star Trek rules every day. I mean, he knows this stuff chapter and verse. He was bothered by that too, and it's like, would think that Starfleet would, or the Federation would remain so altruistic and everything. There have been instances like Deep Space Nine where we had the rogue admiral kind of trying to do martial law on Earth and everything. And
but this sounds like
it's the whole
much larger scale. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and Patrick Stewart in interviews has said he would like to examine things that are happening in world events like Brexit and, you could say the current presidential administration and stuff, and that things, how what would normally be a certain direction governmentally is now, completely the opposite. I mean, it can happen. I mean, they explored it on Babylon 5, that the Earth, Council got corrupt for a little while and stuff, and was getting very socialist, or not socialist, kind of fascist in certain ways, and certainly xenophobic and kind of jackbooty and everything. I don't mean his butt, I mean like the boots, actually, when I say jackboot. Jack Booty. One of my favorite hip-hop movies, Jack Booty. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess we need a better explanation, and we'll get one. But, I mean, that's the thing. And even in Star Trek Insurrection, you had Rogue Admiral. Who knows how high up it went and stuff. I don't know. I mean, I'm okay with that to a degree. Are you not okay with it?
I just don't think. Well, I don't care. I'm always in for a good story,
sure.
And if this gives us a good story, I'm okay with the direction of that. I'm not one of these guys that it has to stay the same. I can see everybody, longtime Star Trek fans going, well, what are you doing?
Sure.
This wasn't what Roddenberry had in mind. Type thing.
Sure.
But yeah. But I'm okay with it story-wise, but it kind of hit me that, Picard left, and he left on not so good terms.
Right.
Or was forced out, whatever the case may be. And, they abandoned this whole planet, this whole race of people. And that's not what their charter was.
Right.
That's not what, Kirk and they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And it's changed over the years. So I'm okay with it as long as it goes to a story that is exciting.
Well, and also I would say that I think we're owed a reasonable explanation of, okay, this Mars incident happened, and again they're going against synthetics, and it's a question of like, are synthetics, it sounds like, are they people? Are they machines? I mean, this goes back to that original question of Measure of a Man. What qualifies as life, at least as far as their attitude towards sense, and is there something else? Is there something beyond that? I mean, then that's shocking in itself. But again, look at how we're readdressing these basic questions that you would have thought in our own current society that you would have thought would have been like things like evolution. I mean, my God, the Scopes monkey trials back in the 1920s. And yet, intelligent design versus evolution is suddenly, back in the news back during the Bush years and stuff 20 years ago. So, I mean,
and don't forget that the Earth is flat.
Well, you've got flat earthers. You've got, obviously the climate change deniers. I mean, so that's the thing. There are basic things that you would think are givens that are being questioned again, which is, I'm shrugging. What can you say? So that's why it's like, I mean, it is human nature. As much as Roddenberry wanted to say that we're past all that and everything, I can appreciate that. And certainly coming in the 60s. But I don't mind a little bit of realism of, that's the ideal. But to completely say, well, we're done with all conflict, it's like, I don't know, man, human nature.
Right. Well, even in the original series, there was conflict, the Klingons and everything else.
But they were other species. Earth had gotten its shit together.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's like, the great scene with Lincoln and Uhura. And, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. She's like, no offense. We're past all that. We don't think in color anymore and stuff like that. So, again, I think, and I don't think it needs to go to that degree, but then when you are dealing with non-Earth people, that might be where today's, or the 24th century version of xenophobia might exist. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because you had Colonel Green in that very same original series episode represented that kind of xenophobia in a generation prior to Kirk's, but in recent enough memory that he's represented there, and it's certainly in somewhere between our present and their past. I don't know. Boy, there you go. There's some nerd Trekdom thing right there. Damn. Well, back to Picard. What'd you think of his helpers?
Romulan, right?
That's my guess, just because they seem to be more emotional than Vulcans.
Yeah. And I thought the again, I'm horrible with names, but the female,
the girl that's running, Daj, or the female?
No, the female helper. I thought she was human at first, because her ears were hidden, but then I saw the eyebrows and stuff like that.
Sure. And
then I caught a glimpse, I think, of the ear from the side. But that guy, the other guy, was definitely Romulan.
Yeah.
And he's torn up about what happened, so he's taken them in. But I wonder what their story is.
Yes, I agree.
How did they come to them?
Yeah, and again, I'm assuming that stuff will come. I hope it will come in the episodes ahead, because clearly there's a schism between those Romulans, the Romulans that tried to abduct Daj, and obviously the Romulans we saw at the end. So,
and then
with Daj's twin,
right. So the Romulans at the end in the Borg cube are what?
We don't know yet.
Yeah,
we don't. Which is, again, I'm okay with that. It's interesting.
Right, yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm okay with that. It is interesting that for the preview of the show that they showed in Los Angeles, they showed 3 episodes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I learned that in the last couple of days. And the people that saw that are like, oh, you really? They felt like, well, you need all 3 parts to really, get a feel of where, the direction of what's going on. But I thought, I'm like this with comic books too. Like, a first episode better be really good. And I would say that this is a massive improvement from what they did with Discovery's first hour that they made available on regular CBS to entice people to subscribe to CBS All Access. because this gave us a lot of story. And where's Jean-Luc Picard today? And even a decent glimpse of, well, the Federation has clearly changed, and he didn't like it, so he left. And also a mystery of, all right, if you want to follow the story, tease us enough with some good questions. Yeah, I mean, I was very satisfied with it as a first episode.
Oh, absolutely. I thought it was very, very well done. It kind of drew you in. Yeah. Dash was out of left field. What is she? What happened to her? Why is she activated? Why can she do all this stuff all of a sudden? And why does she know Picard?
Right.
It made me interested in wanting to find out what happens next.
Sure.
Not that I wasn't going to watch it anyway because it's Star Trek.
Right.
But
why do you think we're doing this podcast?
Right.
Exactly. No, I'm totally with you. And I have to confess, I even said this to Tom King, the Batman writer, last night as I was recording a new Word Balloon podcast as well. I got to admit, I was much more excited about this than I was for Rise of Skywalker. This is, at the end of the day, I love Star Wars, but I if I really had to, and thankfully I live in a world where you don't have to choose, but I was a Star Trek fan for a good, 5 years before Star Wars came around.
Right. Well, if you put it in terms of Star Trek, then this is or Star Wars. This is Star Trek Rogue Picard. Rogue One.
Oh, I think it's the Picard Awakens, actually, from his data sleep. The Picard Awakens. Oh, my. I feel a disturbance in the Federation. Yeah.
And he did say tea, Earl Grey, hot.
Yes, it was decaf, though.
Decaf. He didn't say decaf. That's right. He didn't say hot. He said decaf. That's right.
I think he said Earl Grey hot and decaf, or maybe regardless. But yeah, that was part of his breakfast. That was killing me. No, I like his helpers. I think that's interesting. Daj's twin sister, and I don't mean to write in advance, but I'm like, gee, I hope it's not as simple as almost like the Cylons in Ron Moore's Galactica, where Grace Park's character, Boomer's character. Mm-hmm. And that they're all kind of linked in some way. It was very convenient that Daj, before she blew up real good, was mentioning to her boyfriend, who also got stabbed real good, that she had been accepted to the Daystrom Institute, and it was for robotics and advanced. I had the quote, and I'm sorry to say I don't remember it, but essentially it was, hey, I'm going to be learning a lot about android mind processing and everything that I apparently am that I had no idea I was. And also, you almost wonder if at one point Daj's twin, is she going to be an adversary? Is she going to link with Picard in some way? And I'm very curious because...
Now, did Daj know about her sister?
I don't think so, no.
Because she said that she knew her... She had memories of the mom and dad, and that, jewelry was made by her dad. But the other sister knew of her, or at least a twin, so there could be others.
Right. How many... Exactly, and that's what I'm saying with Boomer. How many others are there out there? What does... Daj's initial mother know, where she immediately is you got to find Picard, and that's why that was a little clunky. I didn't say I was with any Picard.
Right.
Of course you did, honey. No, she didn't. And it's thank you, clunky writing. I mean, it's all right. Keep going. No time. Keep moving. Wait a second. So no, that'll be interesting. It's funny. At first, I wondered if that was the same actress that was Keiko on Deep Space Nine, because she really did look like Rosalind Chow for a second, and I'm like,
I don't think so.
It's not. But for a very brief, much like also that Romulan at the end that was talking to Daj's twin. When I first saw stills of this episode,
didn't he look like Spock?
He looked a lot like Ethan Peck. Right? Yeah.
When he first showed up, because I tried to avoid anything beforehand. That scene where he just showed up, I'm like, what? Yeah. Why is young Spock here?
Well, and I
realized it wasn't him, and I was like, oh, okay.
And I almost wondered if Daj was in some sort of holosuite or whatever, or holodeck, and she was consulting old Starfleet history, and they had an Ethan Peck Spock show up, and I'm like, oh, please don't do that. Please don't do that. So I obviously that's not the case. It is odd how much he looks like Spock, and I wonder what that if that's just. It seems too on the nose to be coincidental. I don't know. I have no idea what that means, but it just seems again way too on the nose to me.
And what's up with the Borg's cube?
Well, again, that's going to be one of the big stories. I mean,
but I want to know now.
Well, sorry, come back next week. No, I hear you, man, and I don't disagree. But yeah, it's funny. People were so concerned, or were like, oh, Data obviously looks his age. It's like, yeah, get over it, man. I'm like, it's been 25 years since the show or more than 25 years, because it ended in '94 or something like that. So 26 years. It's like, God, just shut up. It's like, what do you want? He's 25 years older. He looked fine.
Mm-hmm.
Given that he's older, what are you going to do? I liked it. I got no problem with it.
Well, I'm worried about him around explosions.
After what happened in Nemesis, exactly.
Yeah. Well, even in this episode, he went flying about 50 feet after
Picard
blew it up.
Picard or Data?
Yeah. No, Picard.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah. No, that's true. When Dodge blew up, yeah. It was crazy. I know, he's very resilient. I was going to say, though, I know he's 92, but don't forget we've already got the example of Admiral McCoy being an encounter at Farpoint and being 134 years old, supposedly, in that episode, which I love.
That's right.
So and lifespans do keep getting better, and you would think with, modern medicine that maybe they could make us a little tougher as we get older and stuff, Happy 110th birthday, JeanLuc. Thank you.
Yeah. Maybe he's a Cylon.
He could be a Cylon as well. I don't know. I liked his little archive where he kept all of his stuff, where he found the Data painting and everything.
Yeah, Captain Picard Day. That banner from the kid that he hated, but then he wound up keeping it.
You see, apparently I'm a role model. Yes, of course. Why, yes. No, it's cool. No, and I'm excited to see everybody come back, and looking forward to Riker and Troy and Hugh and 7 of 9.
I loved all the little things, and I'm excited to see them. But the dog named Number 1 was a little. It was cute, but it was like, oh.
Oh, you think it's a little too schmaltzy? All right.
It was a little schmaltzy, but I liked it.
I liked it enough. I'm okay with it. And what do you think about him?
Well, I also because I know Riker is going to show up soon, and how's he going to feel about that?
Yeah, I'm sure it's a big problem. Exactly. Hey, I thought I was your number 1.
You named the dog Number 1.
Gee, Bob, I thought I was your best friend. That's one of my favorite Bob Newhart episodes, too, on a tangent, where Howard is mad at him, his next-door neighbor, and he's complaining to Jerry about it at the dentist. And he's like, I don't know what's going on. My best friend walks out on me. And Jerry looks all sad, and he's like, I thought I was your best friend. And he walks away. And then later in the episode, he's like, Bob, I'm sorry, I was being silly. A guy can have 2 best friends. And his wife hears him, Emily, she's like, I thought I was your best friend, Bob. And all of a sudden, Jerry gets pissed off again. Spreading yourself kind of thin, aren't you, Bob? But anyway, number 1. I was going to say, what do you think about him starting off at the Vineyard? It's very Rob really, and I know other people are like, Jean-Luc Picard was much more an inquisitive man, a man that had passions beyond Starfleet. Why isn't he on an archaeological dig? Whatever. And
he kind of lays it out there at one point when he says, I haven't been living, I've just been waiting to die.
Yep, yeah.
So, I was okay with that. I was too, actually. Seeing him doing that, you're like, oh, knowing Picard, he's an archaeologist. He, what's his girlfriend, Vash?
Yes. Yeah.
See, I do remember one name.
Sure.
On that planet and stuff like that. All those instances of him being interested in all these other things, and he's here at the Vineyards where, his family passed away, and I remember that episode was very interesting.
Yeah.
Was that in the movies?
Generations, where supposedly they all died.
Yeah, it was in the Generations. That's right. They all mushed together for me after a while.
I understand.
But yeah. So at first I thought it was a nostalgia thing, but and I was okay with that. I'm like, he could have been doing something else. But then when he lays out that he was just basically waiting to die, I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Given what happened with Starfleet and Mars and all that other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see him, just kind of being disgusted and everything, and also being kind of in the way that Nixon was in his years after the fall, after Watergate and everything, and after his resignation. Nixon was like churning out books and would show up and still, have his world political view, even though he was, air quotes, out of favor or whatever. And I could see a similar thing with Picard as far as, and again, we'll have to see what exactly was his disgrace or fall. I hope they explore that more. The other thing I was going to say regarding the Vineyard in particular, because his whole family died, I almost wondered if there was almost a sense of family obligation to at least have the Vineyard as his base of home, and then as he is 92. So and again, now he's starting to run around, so maybe there's that question of was he too old, or did he feel like, I should be settling down and relaxing or whatever, and, a man with my thoughts rather than hopping around the galaxy? I don't know. But it didn't bother me as much. Like I said, other people I've heard complain and say, he would absolutely be pursuing these other interests if he wasn't in Starfleet, because he always said he wanted to, and the opportunities of, like, when Dr. Galen, his old mentor, who was played by Norman Lloyd, who amazingly is still alive at 103 years old.
Oh, wow.
And still occasionally in movies. He was in Trainwreck with Amy Schumer and Bill Hader and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, he played appropriately an old man in a retirement home, but it was really funny. And I've even heard him on interviews in the last couple of years, and he's still razor sharp. I mean, this is a guy who worked with Alfred Hitchcock and Orson Welles, back in the 30s and 40s and stuff. It's amazing. So, cool dude. But I was going to say, with you would think that he would be pursuing those archaeological kind of adventures, but I'm like, no, I'm okay with that. And like I said, this is, at the end of the day, Chateau Picard. So, and we see him there at the end of All Good Things, in that future, dealing with his aromatic syndrome back then. Is that still a thing? Did he end up getting it? We don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
So many questions.
Which is good. Okay. I'm okay with all that. It'll be interesting. I mean, there's still things about his past that I hope will be explained. We'll see. I mean, these are the kind of things that they could cover. Think about those 20-plus years. I mean, there's several novels and comic book arcs that can be explored.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I haven't read, I should before we talk again, the IDW Star Trek Picard Countdown comics that are a prequel to this series, just like Countdown was for the 2009 movie.
Oh, wow. I didn't know they were doing that.
Yeah. So, and in that one, it is a little more apocryphal because Data does exist in the comic book and didn't blow up real good like he did in Star Trek Nemesis.
Oh.
So.
I did not know that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't read the comics. I don't read much of anything.
Nowadays, every intellectual property, if it is spread out beyond just a movie or just a TV show, there's other things that are happening in books and comics that they will say, oh, no, it's in canon. All that stuff's in canon. So, I don't know. I have no idea how they're reconciling. I mean, and again, now that they planned that Picard comic book knowing that this TV show is going on, and at least it's all being vetted by the same office and everything, so I could see a more, definite and deliberate connection. If there is more backstory in the comic that we don't get in the TV show, I certainly will mention it in future episodes.
Yeah.
So, anything else? I'm trying to think. Am I missing any characters? I like Alison Pill's character, Agnes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. it looks like she's going to be joining because I watched the preview stuff or the preview for the next episode.
Yeah, or at least like later this season on Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and she was there.
Are you doing commercial CBS access or no commercials?
Commercials. I do see the commercials.
Yeah, me too. Okay, me too.
Yeah.
Interesting little tease for Discovery. Well, actually, it was really more of a review of second season Discovery.
Yeah.
So, and hey, watch this. As if like there aren't already Star Trek fans that didn't at least try Discovery. I don't believe that. I'm interested. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, we'll never really know how much the numbers bump up now that they're doing a Patrick Stewart show. I imagine
I don't
they did.
know. I don't know what the actual numbers are or anything, but
no.
I remember when Discovery came out, there was excitement, fan excitement for it, but not as much as what there has been for Picard.
Absolutely.
It's been building for a little while, and then I watched it earlier in the day. I watched it on my lunch hour today, half of it, and then the other half when I got home. But the first thing I got up, I was on Facebook at like 5 a.m, and someone posted something about it. And I'm like, scroll past, because I didn't want I didn't want to read anything. But somebody had they were already posting stuff on social media about it. So I think the excitement for Picard is a lot more than it was for Discovery.
Oh, 100%. And you knew there would be, because it's, again, I mean, when they made the announcement, everybody went nuts. And unlike Discovery, they're not like, okay, here's a new thing, and the introduction of Michael Burnham, and by the way, she's Spock's sister that we never knew about.
Yeah.
Well, how much of the audience is like, well, I'm not going to watch that. That's BS. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. I don't know.
Did you
I'm still waiting for Star Trek Discovery. If they really want to like prove me like wow, or even in the upcoming Pike show, let's see Sybok at this time. Let's see Sybok when he's young, and you really want to impress me.
That's right.
Let's get Lawrence Luckenbill back, and not literally, but let's get Sybok back, and show me a young Spock and a young Sybok facing each other, and like, hey, Spock, because he says it in the Final Frontier in Star Trek V. He's like,
well, maybe Michael is Sybok. Maybe there's a...
Yeah, I don't think so. Oh, that's hilarious. You think so? That's possible? In today's society, why not?
Maybe. No?
That's hilarious. Wow. That's how Star Trek Discovery is going to wrap up.
Right. She
transgenders into Sybok.
Yeah, I think so. That would...
Wow. That would certainly surprise a bunch of us. That's a bold thing, and I'm not. I forgive me, and frankly,
no, I'm not kidding. I'm like,
we're not. I mean, we're laughing a little bit, and we're not laughing at the idea, but I guess we are. But also, just in terms of that would be very interesting, incredibly provocative.
I'm talking about it, not that it offends me or there's anything wrong with that at all. I'm talking about it in terms of story wise, like you said. They introduced a sister that we had no idea about, and I know we're getting way into the weeds in Discovery here.
No, but I like this, actually. Well, and again, this is also reflective of 5. Finish your thought, and then I'll tell you what I think.
But, at the end of that second season, again, spoilers, no one will talk about this, and no one will mention them again. That's talk about, crappy writing.
Yeah.
With just no one's going to talk about the sister at all. The mom, dad, Sarek. Nobody's going to talk about her.
The entire I did the count when I had Blaine Dowler on the show. Discovery has a crew of like over 250 people. So all those people's families. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like, just start doing, it's like when Sulu in Where No Man Has Gone Before, it's like having a penny a day and doubling it. In a month, you'll be a millionaire. And it's like, think of the family and extended friends of all the crewmates and stuff.
Right.
And their families and acquaintances and stuff. Yeah. In a month, you'd have 1 million of them, so.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, unless they do something, because now they've been flung into the far future.
Right.
Unless something happens there, or I just can't. I guess maybe it's a good thing because you can't see where they're going with it or what they're going to do.
Sure.
But I always thought that was kind of hokey. Like, why?
Well, yeah. Well, again, bad writing, and also, I mean, they defeated Control in the past Why would you take it into the future? I don't know. I mean, it kind of explains. You saw that short trek from the first season, Calypso, where it's 1,000 years in the future and the ship is sentient and everything. Well, I guess we can assume that the control AI helps, in some way. I think merges with Enterprise, or rather with Discovery, and becomes sentient. I'm guessing. I don't know. Again, well, we'll see. In a couple months, we'll see when they lay it out for us.
The one thing I am excited about, and we talked about this on Oh Yeah and stuff, is Anson Mount as a Pike. I would love that show. I loved him as Pike.
How can they not? It's too much of a no-brainer. They keep teasing it every time it's brought up. And if they're that, I can't believe they're that stupid where they don't hear the fans screaming for this to happen. And certainly, I'm sure Anson Mount, Rebecca Romaine, and Ethan Peck would be very happy to come back.
Yeah, I would love that show. I would. Yeah.
No, I think,
and they wouldn't have to go, but they can get tons of stories there.
Of course, there. Yeah, no, there's 9 years.
Don't link it to Kirk Enterprise. Have your own things happening.
Sure. Well, that's what I was going to say. There's 9 years of space to do a bunch of Pike stories with ever touching Kirk. And absolutely, hey man, Kirk's out. I'm trying to remember what his ship was before the Enterprise, where he was the lieutenant, and they had the blood-sucking alien from the original series, and they talk about his first time as a lieutenant and how he froze. I
do vaguely remember this. Yes.
Yeah, it's an original series episode because I believe Captain Garrick was his. Maybe not, but I want to say Captain Garrick was his captain. It started with an F. Actually, all right. Kirk's ships, Memory Alpha. Once again, let's discuss Memory Alpha or consult Memory Alpha. The Farragut. I even before I think I put it up, I bet it is the Farragut.
I remember that name.
It's either the Farragut or the Saratoga.
Listeners are yelling at us right now.
Captain Garavik. There you go.
Pretty close.
Yeah. So, and yes, Kirk was on that. Is that right? Yeah, early Kirk posting. Crew of 400. Captain Garavik, Lieutenant James Kirk, his first deep space assignment, following his graduation from Starfleet Academy. Blah, blah, blah. And yeah, it figures into the original series episode Obsession. There you go. How you doing? Hey, nice. So, yeah, I don't know.
I really have to say that I liked the episode. I liked, even though I complain a lot about Discovery, I like that Discovery is there. That I want more Trek stuff. Give me more Trek stuff. And when they had Deep Space Nine, I loved Deep Space Nine.
Me too,
when they had Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager was the only one that I was kind of like, I don't know what happened in my life, but I remember starting to watch it and then it just kind of faded off. And
what about Enterprise?
Enterprise, I did watch.
Really, all four? Yeah. Like, were you totally in all 4 seasons?
I'd have to go back and relook. Wow. I have them all in my queue as well, and they're all on CBS All Access because I have.
They're Netflix. They're on also Amazon Prime. They're all over the place.
So they're everywhere, and I should go back and maybe watch those. But I remember watching the first couple of seasons, if not all of them, for Enterprise.
I'll tell you, Voyager, I always say like a third of Voyager's episodes are good to exceptional. There are a lot of really exceptional, really interesting science fiction stories that happen during Voyager. That said, there's also a third that are very ordinary and a third that suck. And I do agree with people who say that by the time of Voyager, it was a copy of a copy, and it really was like, okay, we need a Vulcan, we need a Klingon, we need whatever. Catherine Janeway was an excellent character, and what's her face played her amazingly, Kate Mulgrew. And there were a lot of strong, interesting characters on Voyager as well. But it was very formulaic and very much Next Generation light, I think, as a whole.
If I remember correctly, Kate Mulgrew came on last minute.
Yep.
Because it was Genevieve Bujold?
Yeah, Genevieve Bujold or Bujold. I don't know how to say her last name, but yeah.
She was, very French.
She was too weak. She was too, and also she was overwhelmed by television.
By the pace.
I mean, it's like, 10 hours a day, no lie. And it's like, what? Yeah. During that time I'll be in my trailer. Now you'll be on the set because you're the captain and you're pretty much in every scene. What? So yeah, it was a shame. Because I can appreciate the idea of making it more international as well.
Right.
And isn't it interesting that, of course, Picard is supposed to be French, and then they also cast a French woman to be the captain of Voyager and everything. But and thank God Kay Mulgrew came in, had the right attitude, was perfect, and I think did a hell of a job, and she's a great character and a great actor. But yeah, and then with Enterprise, it's a shame they didn't get to do the show they wanted to do, because they originally wanted the show to be set on Earth for the first season, and that they're building Enterprise, and that you'd really get into the Earth politics, and also
that would have been cool.
Well, yeah, and really play up like how the Vulcans are like against them going into deep space and kind of keeping them down literally, and just making it more earthbound, and kind of the formation of Starfleet, or the extension of Starfleet to go into deep space. And yeah, it's a shame, but no, Paramount really is like, oh no, they got to be in space right away. Mm-hmm. And again, they wanted more of what they got with Voyager to continue. Mm-hmm. And I think that hurt the show. And the third season, the Xindi War, I watch it now and I like it more. At the time, I was it's so interesting that now we do accept one story a season. But again, this was back in the 22 to 26 episode seasons during Enterprise. And it just, in the same way that the CW occasionally frustrates me, that their seasons are just too long to sustain one story per year. And I wish they would almost break it up into two stories and stuff instead.
I'm kind of okay with the 8 to 13 episode format of seasons. They can do it on streaming, I guess. Network television has been in power. I guess
they're built that way. They're built. Right. They want to keep an audience for at least. I'm shrugging right now. Close to 6 months out of the year, if not longer, with breaks and stuff like that. They want to keep an audience from September to May, or the end of April or something. So. That's the thing. They want to hold their attention for at least 7 months. I don't know. And again, well before streaming and cable, British TV was doing, we got 6 this year. That's enough. Mm-hmm. Whatever. So, this is the new age. And again, they have to compete with the nimbleness of cable and streaming as far as that stuff goes. But yeah, I think hopefully they've learned the things they've done wrong in the 2 seasons of Discovery, and it's fair to kind of still get your footing. And as much as I love Deep Space Nine, I think that's a clunky first season. There's good episodes, but there's a lot of bad ones. Certainly, Next Generation had its growing pains in the first 2 years. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. And also that this is a new group that is kind of learning. So it's interesting. You realize that over the 18 years from Next Generation to the end of Enterprise, they built sets, uniforms and things, props, and as time went on, in the case of Enterprise, they had to go a little retro. But really, for the other shows, they could repurpose all that stuff and make a reasonably cost-effective show because of it. And with Discovery, they really had to start from scratch again and go brand new.
Right.
And so, that's another interesting thing that these shows, I think, are at a disadvantage. But now, luckily, if there's a Pike show, you can certainly borrow sets from Discovery that are likely still standing and costumes and things. So I don't know. It'll be interesting.
But also, I think we talked about it on the podcast about the Mandalorian and how they're. I think I sent you that article, or maybe
Stagecraft. What they do with Stagecraft?
Yeah, where they're employing this new technology that they can do it much cheaper, and it looks the sets can be done in like one area instead of building out all these other sets.
Yep.
So I'm wondering, I
don't know if that's a Disney only technology right now. Or Disney's the first, or an ILM, and if it is ILM, it might be available to anyone. I don't know. I'm not sure. So yeah, you're right that exists now. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I just know that Discovery spent a shit ton of money to build everything, and that's because, unfortunately, too. I mean, in between Enterprise and Discovery, and even the 2009 movie, they sold everything off. They auctioned everything. Or destroyed set pieces and stuff, but like costumes and props, they got rid of it all.
Now, is this something that's, again, speculation, but is it something that's working for them? Because now Picard's on, after 2 seasons of Discovery, is there an audience here that's going to maintain the streaming platform for CBS All Access?
Well, I think now...
Are they showing these anywhere else outside? I know outside of the United States it's on Netflix, I believe.
No, now Picard specifically is on Amazon Prime. Netflix kind of feels burned by the 2 seasons of Discovery, and they were not interested in when they pitched Picard. And I don't know how much it changed, if at all, thematically, from when they pitched it to Discovery or to Netflix to now what it is on Amazon Prime. But I know Amazon Prime got it for a much smaller rate. I have heard stories, I don't know if they're true or not, but like the short treks, I heard that CBS was like, hey, if Netflix wants to run those, we want $40 million for them. And Netflix said, no. Okay, $20 million. No. $5 million. No. Finally, they just gave them to them for free. So that Discovery fans could see them internationally that don't have CBS access. But that said, Netflix buried them in the special features. They don't even consider them a mini season or whatever. And so again, there was kind of this bad feeling. I do think now what's smart is, and I hope this is the case, is literally, I would hope within, if not immediately after the end of Star Trek Picard, that either Discovery starts up, or within a month. I certainly hope that's the case, because they really should give us some sort of Star Trek series, whether it's Discovery or these animated shows that they're talking about as well. The one animated show that'll be
that's below deck or something like that.
Yeah,
lower decks or something like that. Yeah.
And again, even when that's in production, they had better start either with a Pike show or a Section 31 show, as they keep talking about. I hope those things are in production with enough time that by the time the next season wraps up, and that you're not waiting 6 months. Because I think CBS needs that more from Star Trek than Disney Plus needs it from Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. Again, there was a lot of excitement about Patrick Stewart being back on. Well, that's going to be great for the next 9 weeks after the debut this week. Then what?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I wish they would even go further, and wouldn't it be great to get, a movie in between of, hey, what's O'Brien doing these days? What's Bashir doing these days? And really like Worf, do a Worf movie, do a Riker and Troy movie. I'd love that.
Yeah, I give me more Star Trek. I'll take it.
Well, yeah.
I'll take it. Again, I wouldn't complain about any of it. But again, slapping it together for the sake of having content is something I wouldn't want.
Oh, no. But you would think that they would be thinking in these terms. It's so weird. I heard Michael Dorn just on a interview show. Yeah,
wasn't he trying to get something together a while ago?
Yeah. He wanted a Captain Worf show.
Right.
And he pitched it to them. And this is
Discovery, right?
Pre-Discovery, yes. And it was in the midst of JJ. And also, I don't know, unfortunately, what happened. He was also, and he did mention that the Discovery people did make him an offer to come on Discovery as a character, and they didn't specify what or who. Apparently the numbers just weren't there in terms of what he was looking for. And it's like, thanks, but no thanks. So it's interesting. Again, this was all pre-Patrick Stewart, and now that Patrick's back, obviously Riker, Jonathan Frakes has been directing Discovery, and it was an easy, hey, let's do this.
No, he didn't direct this first one. I think it was
no, I think he directed
female director.
Yes. I know that I believe his episodes are in what they're calling the second block. So I'm assuming that's 4, 5, 6 or something like that, because I think he did 3. I don't know. We'll see when the time comes. So like I said, I thought fine first episode. My little nitpicks drag it down from an A, but I give it a B, and I think given my own feelings about Discovery and stuff, that's a pretty positive review from me, because I am not, as I said, I am not, for the most part, not enjoying Discovery. But I do want more Star Trek, and I do think that, based on what we've seen so far, this is going to be an intriguing series, and if it's good enough, then it's going to buy them good grace to move on to whatever happens in Discovery, and that will be very interesting to see as well, obviously.
Yeah.
Whatever they do.
I'm going to watch all the seasons of Discovery.
Sure.
Hoping that...
hoping it gets better.
Hoping that, they turn it around, and at the end I'm like, wow, I got to watch that all over again just to catch everything type thing.
I remember back in the first season of Next Generation going like, I guess I'll be back next year, but I got to say, on balance, I haven't been like crazy about Star Trek. And, and the same thing like with Voyager, I just got bored by the later seasons in terms of, man, they just really don't seem to care about getting home anymore. And I like the finale of Voyager.
Did they get home? Because again, I fell off with that.
Oh, you got to watch it, dude. Do yourself a favor and literally watch the last episode of Voyager. It's a great story, and you should totally watch it. Because honestly, I don't want to spoil it. You should totally watch it. A lot of very interesting.
I think I kind of maybe saw it. I think if I'm remembering.
I'm not going to tip anything. I'll let you read a description of it on your own or whatever, and say, "Oh yeah, I did see it." Whatever. But no, I thought it was well done. The final episode. And I haven't read them, but there are post-series Voyager crew stories that Heather Caden, I believe, one of the writers, and if I'm getting it wrong, I apologize. Like I said, I'm kind of just going off extemporaneously of what I remember and know about Star Trek for the most part. But there's a bunch of Voyager novels that happen after the last episode that are like everyone raves about how great they are. So there's that, if you're interested. And then they've done post-series Deep Space Nine books as well, and I've enjoyed those to a decent degree. I don't know. We'll see. Well, there you go, Francis. I think we've covered the main points of Star Trek Picard.
I liked it. I'm sticking around. Yeah. I was going to stick around anyway, but I'm excited for the season.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
See where it goes. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. We're going to do it again next week. If you want to leave any questions about what you think or observations that we're not covering, feel free to email me, john@wordballoon.com, and we'll read them next week. But I hope you enjoyed this. This is an impromptu little conversation, and we figure I'm going to try. If not with Franco, I'm going to certainly try with other people I know who are watching. Dedicated each week, and hopefully Thursday or Friday we'll try hopefully Friday or Saturday we'll try and drop these episodes and make them available to you as you watch with us on Star Trek Picard.
Yeah, if you want me back and I have the time, I would be happy to.
Excellent. Here's our closing theme.
Gotta add in a lot more violins.
There you go, Franco and I talking about Star Trek Picard Episode 1. We'll have another review of Episode 2 next week. And I hope you're enjoying the show as much as we are. We'd love to get feedback from you and your thoughts on Star Trek Picard. John@wordballoon.com. Shoot me an email. Tell me what you think. Today's episode was brought to you by Aftershock Comics. There are great books happening from Aftershock in 2020 to go along with their wonderful books like Animosity by Marguerite Bennett, Donny Cates' Baby Teeth, and Gary Brown, Walk Through Hell from Gordon Suzuka and Garth Ennis. And, of course, their wonderful back catalog as well from things like people like Brian Azzarello and Paul Jenkins, and current books like Tim Seeley's Dark Red and Cullen Bunn and Juan Doe's Dark Ark. Of course, there's also You Are Obsolete from Matthew Klickstein, among others. Great books and unbelievable genre-bending ideas that will include John Layman's Man Who Effed Up Time and Zach Thompson's Undone by Blood, God Killers from Mark Zabel, some of the new stuff that's coming up in the weeks ahead from Aftershock that deserves your attention. Go to their website. You'll find full story descriptions, preview pages, and how to get these books with the diamond codes through your local comic shop at AftershockComics.com. Thanks a lot for listening. More Word Balloon available today. Matt Kint, the excellent creator, is back with a brand new book, and can't wait to share with you our thoughts on the spy crime thriller Bang. So up Matt Kint's alley, and it's great to talk to him about the book and his ideas behind it. It's another great book from Matt to go along with Spy Stories and Pistol Whip, among some of his other great creations over the years. We talk about all of it on another episode of Word Balloon that's coming your way today. So I hope you'll check it out. Until then, thanks for listening. Word Balloon is a copyright feature of Shaky Productions, copyright 2020.